Hello, everyone. Thanks for checking out this special episode of Really Dicey. This is Manny, and I am here with the great Mr. Goo. How are you, sir?
Ha! Hello, Emmanuel, my friend. It is great to see you. You look marvelous. And looking out there, look at all those people who are watching us. I wonder what they're doing. I wonder if they're playing games. Everyone loves to play games. Yes, especially this wonderful game we call 5th edition. Yes, and even the 4th edition, or 3rd edition, or 2nd edition. Some people still even play 1st edition, right, Manny?
Oh, all D&D is good D&D, in my opinion. But speaking of 5th edition D&D, the Tomb of Gyzaengaxx.
Yes.
Love the name. I love what you're putting together. Viewers, if this is the first time you're hearing about this, you're gonna really love what we're gonna talk about today. And we're gonna talk about first, like the match made in heaven, or the 9 hells. You and Luke Gygax are teaming up to create an adventure module for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. That is amazing. I have to ask first, how did this union take place?
Well, we support GaryCon. We go to GaryCon and have a booth there and all of that stuff. And I happened to be talking to Luke one day, and I don't remember exactly which day it was or when it was, but it's been quite a bit of time ago, maybe, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. And I happened to say, I put this place in East Fredestia that's called Gyzaengaxx. And I put it in there, as a nod to your father. And there in the middle of the map, you can see it. It's been there since the beginning. I showed it to him. And I said, Luke, it would be wonderful if you would like to collaborate on an adventure there in this area, and maybe even a campaign setting that we could do in the area. And he says, that sounds fantastic. Let's talk about it. So I flew out to LA. We started doing some brainstorming. The Tomb of Gyzaengaxx came out. We really wanted to be lampoony and dark and fun and weird and mysterious all at the same time, right? With all kinds of nods and Easter eggs and things from the days of yore. And it just all came together under this name, the Tomb of Gyzaengaxx. So that's the tale, Emmanuel. That's the tale.
What is the story behind the Tomb of Gyzaengaxx? What is the intro summary to this adventure?
Yes, so there is a little village that is called Etholm. That is one village. There's another little village called Blun, and then there is a nearby to the village of Etholm. There is this tower, this keep that was for many years called the Tower of Gyzaengaxx. And this is where a grand and mysterious wizard, eccentric truly, with all manner of interesting tastes and desires to find the most unique and unusual creatures and things and magics and all of that stuff in the world. And so Gyzaengaxx has been there for a long time. This tower, this keep. Well, some years back, people stopped hearing from the wizard. And people who went to visit the tower found that there were fearful creatures and strange magical aberrations and all kinds of weird stuff going on. And so they stopped going because some people actually lost their lives. And they began, because the wizard was no longer around, they stopped calling it the Tower of Gyzaengaxx and began to colloquially call it the Tomb of Gyzaengaxx. Yes, because they assumed the wizard was dead. Then, most recently, a man by the name of Lukasz Gygax, the son of Gerald Gygax, who was the wizard, arrived back in his hometown, having retired from the military in Vanzentia with his family. And that, my friends, is where the tale begins, because Lukasz wishes to hire some adventurers to find out what has happened to his father. Ha! That's the tale. I think it sounds really good.
It sounds intriguing. So this is a level 6 to 8 adventure?
Yes, that is what we're thinking at the time right now. Originally, we were thinking lower, but we're really thinking it's going to be a little higher level. We're bouncing back and forth on it. And as you know, Emmanuel, we have a spread in our adventures that most don't have, because we have those level variable modifiers that allow it to be tougher and not as tough, all of that kind of stuff. But yes, right now, that's what we're thinking.
And the module includes maps, so that if someone wanted to do their own intro adventures, or even combine the Gooeycube other Gooeycube modules to this adventure as a way
Yes.
to
So,
build
so
up
if
to this.
No, yes, you're right. And if it works out the way we're hoping, there's going to be a campaign box that will have all the environs, perhaps even a fearful place called the Temple of Existential Evil. Ha ha! Come on, Manny, that's pretty funny.
Bravo, sir, bravo.
I don't really know what that place is yet, but it sounds magnificently funny and scary.
If I may ask, so you've written all these great adventures for Gooeycube. Why did you get the time? You're it's just you put out such a wealth of material.
Well,
What's your
we have
secret?
we have a wonderful little team, and I love them dearly. And as you know, Emmanuel, we also invite our community to actually make contributions if they want to. So we have quite a number of folks who have been published in our materials with ideas and things that they've brought to the world of Xyothay, and we just work hard. It's exciting to be able to make this wonderful world of Xyothay. I mean, Emmanuel, you were the first interview we ever did. I mean, I think I'm almost sure it was in 2000 and what was it, 19, right?
Yes,
2019, yes. And I
Gen
think
Con.
you were the first one we ever did. And lo and behold, here we are. And it's just wonderful to be in this place and making these wonderful adventures. And I tell you, Emmanuel, there's more to it, which I know you're going to get to, but very exciting things that are going on with the tomb.
Mm. So let's talk about what's inside the module. I'm sure everyone wants to know, like, okay, what's happening here? Now, anyone that knows Gooeycube knows that every module they produce, every box set that they come out with, has so much material. It's amazing. I would even heretically say that maybe even it's even grander than some of the second edition box sets with the amount of material there is in there. There is maps, character folios, the adventure itself, books, many books of the adventures,
Yes.
cards of magic items. There is so much incredible wealth of game master tools in your box sets.
Well,
So
Emmanuel, our goal is always to help game masters run more enthralling, more fun games while also making it easier on the game master, right? In fact, you and I even talked about this, how if we could do that to help game masters, it would be a wonderful thing. And you gave me some great suggestions first time we ever got together and remember we went out to have pizza and I just had such a great time with you. So there will be a campaign which has all the goings on in the area around Gygax, right? So all of the places that they can visit, and it will probably have 2 or even 3 books, for sure 2. One will have all of the lore and information and locations, and the other one will have monsters and rumors and good guys and bad guys and all of that kind of stuff. But also, of course, we'll have our marvelous non-player character portraits, the many artworks that we put in there, the magic item cards, as you were saying, many of these things will all be in these materials. And of course, the Tomb of Gyzaengaxx, which will actually be the adventure, will be these wonderful adventurers being hired to go to visit the aged wizard's tomb, if you will. Yeah, so we'll see what they think. So there's the actual tower itself, and then there is a dungeon underneath. So I think it's going to be really cool.
let's talk a little bit about the NPCs. Now, I know you and Luke Gygax have contributed the majority of the materials together. But I've noticed that you have some other famous faces kind of contributing tiny bit with NPCs. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, indeed. So we had this crazy idea. We have the ghost of Gary Gygax, right, who is sort of the star of the whole show, along with our marvelous family, the Lukáš Gygax family, right? Because Luke's wife, Bushra, and their daughters are all appearing as characters in the tale. And we were talking about this back and forth, and all of a sudden we had this idea that we would invite other legends to come along and also be characters in the adventure and in the campaign. And so here we are some months later, and Peter Atkinson is going to be a character in the campaign as Peter Wazekost. We've got Ed Greenwood, who's going to be a character in the campaign. Margaret Weiss actually created a character for us. It's not Margaret posing as a character, but actually created a character named Archibald Fox. Larry Elmore, Tim Kask, Errol Otis. I mean, there's so many. Well, even you, Emmanuel, are going to join all these crazy characters. I think you're going to be a bad guy. Yes, that was our thought. Oh, yes, I shouldn't say that. Spoiler alert. So basically, all of these legends, probably 25 or 30 of them, there will be portraits of them in these materials that they can be the characters, the NPCs that the players interact with, along with others. It's beyond my comprehension that it even happened. I still blink my eyes and think I'm dreaming a little bit.
But let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
I know in the last few that you've done, there's been some great extras. Would you like to talk
you
about
know,
that?
we go over the top all the time. So yes, so first and foremost, anybody who's watching, you need to go to the page that we're going to talk about in a little bit first, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can get if you back at the adventure and campaign level, $200 worth of stuff that you can get before we even have a single stretch goal broken. It's called the Gooey Haul, and it's all on that page that we're going to talk about. So I definitely would do that. And then, of course, we're going to have all the stretch goals that we do. We have a part of that Gooey Haul is an extra adventure called the Ghost Stone, which is really cool, and some other things that I can't even talk about until it launches. So, and we're launching on the 27th. So if you're watching this and it's after February 27th, hurry.
So let's talk about that page real fast. It's gooeycube.com/nerdc. That's NERDC.
Yes, the letter C. Yes, because we wanted to put it in there as a little memento to you, my friend. So gooeycube.com/NERD and the letter C. NERD and the letter C. Nerd C for Nerd Caliber. Ha ha.
And yes, thank you for that. I think that's really amazing how the amount of great things you have available. I have to admit, sometimes I get let down with some things coming out from certain companies. I want to mention names, but sometimes you get this box set, you open it, it's a big box set. You just see like maybe 2 flimsy books and a dice, and so a set of dice, and I'm like,
Well, stuff is expensive to produce. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least credit folks for understanding how costly, printing and production and all of this stuff is. But well that I just have a belief set that over time, if you produce better stuff, if your materials really do go beyond go the extra mile, so to speak, to borrow those words. If you go the extra mile, that over time people will appreciate your materials more, and they'll be more loyal to you as a company and as an organization, and that's certainly proving to be so. We have, as you know, Emmanuel, so many wonderful 5-star reviews. So many people have said so many nice things about us, and and our community keeps coming back and backing our Kickstarter, and we keep Kickstarters, and we keep adding more and more people. So it is a wonderful thing. It's just amazing. But this one, Emmanuel, I don't know how we ever top it. I mean, I don't know how you get to do an homage to Gary Gygax in the 50th anniversary, right, of the game, with all of these wonderful legends. Oh, and it's a collector's edition, by the way, which you can only get in the Kickstarter. So if you're a collector like I am, you want to do this, because you'll never be able to get it again unless you buy it on a secondary market somehow, which I imagine they will probably go up in value quite substantially. Again, I have no idea how the collector's market works, but I would think that they will, given all the people that are involved in the coolness of it, I have to believe it has at least some potential to appreciate over time. We'll see.
So let me just take a quick look at your crowdfund page. So let's see, Tomb of Gyzaengaxx. So I want to take real fast. Make sure I didn't miss anything to talk about. Again, I'm looking at your graphics and all the good stuff that's going to come in this box set. And this I see so many books and character folios. It's almost overwhelming in a good way of how much stuff there is in this box set.
Yes,
Um,
we want people to think they got value for their money. That is that very important for us. If you spend the money, we want you to come back and think, goodness, I did get a good value. That is very important.
Oh, and just so we're clear, anyone that's been following Gooeycube and has been picking up the box sets and the materials, the books, is this Tomb of Gyzaengaxx part of your world as well, or is it separate?
It is indeed. Now, most of the adventures that we have published thus far are in West Verdestia. So this is our first real foray into East Verdestia, with the exception of of a number of tales that appear in our lore books. But hopefully, as things continue on, we're not just going to explore East Verdestia in more detail. We're actually going to travel south into Sundestia, to the east into Estrenia, to the far, far southeast into Zoostrenia, and perhaps even to the dark lands of Crooks. Ha ha! But we will see.
And
It's a grand world. It is a grand world. It's wonderful.
and I love the art. You see the like a homage to the Tomb of Horrors, that famous demon head.
Yes, with the open mouth. I'm actually playing because it's a lampoon, right? So we're lampooning it a little bit. I'm actually playing with the idea of actually having one tooth hanging down. It's not... So we'll see. But yes, we're going to lampoon it, but it's also going to be grimdark. So I think that there's going to be laughs and there's going to be like OMGs, So...
and I think that's how I think Gary would have liked it. Honestly.
Indeed. Yes, that was part of Luke's and my discussion, is could we have a lot of fun lampooning some of the old things and really making light of a lot of stuff, and then at the same time also make it a good perilous adventure that Gary would have appreciated. And of course, to do this with Luke, who was his first play tester, I mean, this is just, I'm in awe of the wonderfulness of being able to do this. It's beyond my. Again, Emmanuel, I can't believe it. When I first talked to you the first time, with this little tiny, we have a box set. Remember, we had a box set of the chapter 1, and we had the one lore book, and that's all we had. And then we were working on chapter 2, I think, at the time, and oh my gosh, it's just so many products now, and a wonderful little company. It's unbelievable.
So one last question before we plug again the site and the Kickstarter. So Gygax, great game designer, one of the pretty much the first game RPG designer, I would say, along with Arneson.
Yes, the creators, they were, right, and there was a few others as well at the time that all contributed to it. But what a wonderful group! Yes.
So even despite all that, Gygax was also a great dungeon designer. He's done from the Village of Hamlet to the Temple of Elemental Evil, and of course, Tomb of Horrors.
Yes, and Against the Giants, right? And yes. And Behind the Magic Mirror, and so many wonderful adventures. Wonderful. Anyway, I apologize. Keep going. Yes, I agree.
So what do you think is it about his modules that even today players want to try out for the first time?
That for those of us who played all of those, right, when we were young, all the way through to the Vault of the Drow and all of that stuff. And Gary, I don't remember if Gary did Vault of the Drow. I can't remember how the whole thing progressed, but all of those different modules that were there. Of course, the magnificent series that he put out, and all of those. I mean, for the time, he was very productive, as an author. And I think that there's a nostalgia factor, and obviously the game has evolved, right, and gotten more in depth, and descriptions are more flowery, and artwork obviously has evolved substantially. But Emmanuel, this is one of the things that I said to you a long time ago. In the old days, you're younger than I am, but you kind of remember this. We used to get these modules that would have all these wonderful line art artworks that were in there that you could hand out to your players when they came into a room or encountered a monster or whatever it was. They had all these beautiful artworks, which so helped your imagination to see it and be there, right? And those, sadly, have kind of gone away. And I think in the quest for profit. And I think there's something lost in that. And so when you do even go back and encounter an adventure like that, which has the artworks in there and all of that stuff, it is a different experience. And of course, that's what we tried to do with our materials too, was to take that concept, move it forward into the 21st century with more color and more photorealistic artworks and all of that kind of stuff, which obviously has done well for us, which is why people love our materials, I believe. One of the reasons.
Is there anything about this project I haven't asked you about that you wanted to share?
No, I think we've covered it well, and I'm very excited for your listeners, your watchers, to consider backing us. We do all, we're not always perfectly on time. I'd be lying if I said we're perfectly on time on Kickstarters. I don't know very many people that are, but we always over deliver, and we will do that again on this one. We're going to send stuff that is beyond what we even probably promised in the Kickstarter, because the problem is that we end up with so many good ideas. I can't take it all out. You know what I'm saying? I can't. So we end up with more pages than we're supposed to end up with. It's all that stuff. It just happens. But anyway, what I do think in the end is that people get a wonderful value. They get entertaining materials, and they get materials, of course, if you're a game master, that make it much easier for you to run a game while making the game far more immersive and more interesting for players, which is the goal of all of us game masters. Yes. No, I hope folks will back us. I think you will love it.
And viewers, if you're not too sure, if it's just the first time you're hearing about Gooeycube, go to gooeycube.com, and there's some free materials you can download and check out.
Yes.
Adventures. Check out the art. The art is so good. It definitely sold me the first time I saw the box, and I was like, oh, this is some this is going to be something epic, and it is. Yeah, definitely go to gooeycube.com. Again, gooeycube.com/nerdc, NERDC. So to check out the Kickstarter and some of the I don't know if it's free materials the right word.
Yes, it is. I mean, there's actually a free download for a race of shape-shifting people that you can get just for free, just going there. So there's a good reason to go check it out, Emmanuel. I think people will get, right there off the bat, they can experience one of our things for free. And I would love folks to be able to look at that. And of course, the Gooey Hall, if they register and back, they get that. There's a lot of good reasons to go just check out gooeycube.com/NERDC, nerdc. Aha!
Well, Alphinius, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about this amazing project. And I wish you the best, but I cannot see this not succeeding. That's it.
I am so excited for it, Emmanuel. And thank you for your friendship through the years and your supporting of us. And it's hard to be a little creator in a space where there is a massive behemoth right out there who just dominates the space. It's hard. And there's, I encourage everyone. I back, as you know, Emmanuel, I back quite a number of Kickstarters, and I back other little creators. And I encourage everyone to try to do that, not just for our sakes, but for other people's sakes as well, because that's kind of this community anyway, right? That's the soul of us, is to help each other, kind of lift each other up and all of that. So yes, please back us. gooeycube.com/nerdc.
Thank you everyone for watching. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time.